Well, taking a turn here, steering is super light, and let's get our acceleration now. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the 2020 Toyota Sienna, and more importantly, this is a Toyota Sienna with all-wheel drive. Currently, it is the only minivan on the market with all-wheel drive, so as always, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larich Miller Toyota here in Murray for providing us with the Sienna. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get right into it. Now under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 296 horsepower and then 263 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 18 around town and then 24 on the highway. Now let's go over the front end on this particular Sienna. So I love the dark metallic gray paint on this. I just think it looks really good. The other thing that I really like is the headlights. So you've got the projector halogen lights, and then the housing itself is all blacked out, which just gives it kind of like a sportier look. They've blacked out the entire grille as well, and even the back part of the Toyota logo. They've still got the chrome on the front part, obviously to make it pop out, but definitely has like a sporty front end for a minivan in terms of like how it's all blacked out and everything. Around the side here, we've got two 35mm tires on 18-inch wheels in the front and in the back as well, and then I love the dark metallic gray that they are finishing. I think it's just definitely a really cool look and kind of matches the paint of the rest of the minivan. Got your all-wheel drive badging so everyone knows that, well, it's got all-wheel drive. And there is your full side angle on the Sienna. Now here is the key fob for the Sienna. You've got a couple functions on it. You've got the lock, the unlock, the release for both the doors, and then the rear hatch. And well, we'll check it out. It has remote start. So all you have to do is just press the lock function twice and then hold it down on a Toyota. And that'll basically tell you if the Toyota has remote start. If nothing happens, you either didn't do it correctly or it doesn't have remote start. Now for the rear hatch, all you have to do is just hold that down and then it'll automatically pop right open, as you guys can see. Now popping here into the rear, you can see that there is quite a bit of storage space back here, and we've got this seat kind of folded down and then this area folded down as well, so you guys can see just like how you can fold everything down flat for a little bit more storage if you do need to haul some stuff here in the back of the minivan. And you do get a full power outlet back here, as well as a 12-volt on top of that, and that's everything for that part of the rear. When you're all done, just press that and that'll slow lower it back down. Let's finish things up in this part of the rear of the Sienna. So you guys can see the crossbars there at the top, and these taillights look pretty interesting. I like how they've gone for like the full like silver theme here with the taillights. Definitely an interesting look. You got your parking sensors here along the back, and other than that, that's everything for that part of the back. Well, now popping here to the side, we just gotta hold this button down right here, and voila, the door will pop right open, and you guys can see the seat is slid forward again. That's part of that storage right there, but you guys can see all the way back there, good amount of storage space with all of it, and this will let us crawl into the back seat. So you can see with everything folded down, I gotta kind of crawl awkwardly, but it's not too bad to get back here. And once you are back here, headroom's actually really solid. I'm 5'11" if you're wondering. Now, legroom, once this seat is slid back, will be kind of cramped. Your legs would be in this position pretty much, and so legroom isn't the best, but still pretty good for a minivan. And other than that, you got some cup holders here on the side, and that's all for this part of the back. Well, now let's pop into the second row, and ooh, a lot easier. And legroom, well, you can see legroom is a whole lot better back here. Got a couple little charging stations right there in that area, and boom, press this down, got a bad boy TV. There's vents all along the ceiling, so plenty of air to go around, and that's everything for the back now, so you guys can kind of see all that, and let's head to the front. By the way, pro tip, if you guys are wondering, just pull this, and then that'll shut the door again. Coming up front, you do get keyless entry right there. It does have blind spot monitoring as well. And then looking here at the door panel at the front, you can see you've got the soft touch right here in this area. You've got this unique kind of trim right down there with all your window controls and all that. Here are the seats at the front. So again, leather with the stitching. Bolsters are a little bit more aggressive here at the front, but they're still really open. You can see the adjustments on the seat. There's what your pedal layout looks like at the bottom of it, and then you've got the release for the hood and the gas, stability control up top with the parking sensors, and that's one more look before we pop in. Well, let's start her up, so just foot on the brake, and everything will come to life, and thank goodness for air conditioning because I am dying. Now here's the steering wheel in the Sienna. You guys can see you've got the controls there for the center stack, and then you got your controls to lane departure assistance, your collision assistance. They actually do stitching in the center of the steering wheel bag. And then you've got your controls to like your voice commands, radio, phone controls, all that. It is black leather with black stitching on the steering wheel. And then you have your windshield wiper stock, and then you've got your light stock on the other side, and it's all for the steering wheel. Here on the center screen, you can see that you've got the RPMs over on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and obviously the door jar warning because I'm trying to keep cool today. It's like 100 degrees almost. Well, 92. Anyways, But you can see all the menus you can scroll through right there, so give you different bits of information, like tell me I only got 5 miles of range. Now here's the center infotainment system. If I actually pop it into reverse, you can see the camera that'll pop up. It'll beep at me because I have the door open, but resolution on the camera is pretty good. And then for the rest of the infotainment system, you guys have heard me talk about this in a bunch of Toyotas, so I'm not gonna go super in depth. All you need to know is response time for the buttons is pretty good. Response time for the screen is good as well. And we've got nice soft touch up above it. Now in this little area, you've got the controls for the climate. So you have the rear climate, and then you've got the climate here for the front, and then you've got all the controls down here where you can control all of that. And they've got little dials for everything, which is pretty neat. Here's a shifter for the 8-speed automatic, and look at the pattern on the shifter. It's pretty interesting. But you guys can see that you can go into the different gear selections. Pretty straightforward right there. And then down here, you've got the heated seat controls, which those will not be touched at all today. It is so hot. And then we've got some cup holders, like, look at that. That just pops out so interestingly. And then this is for the little TV there in the back. And then you can see you've got some like storage area here. You've got a couple cup holders here. And then you can actually press this and it reveals secret storage, which goes super deep down there. It's not so secret, but like, it doesn't look like anything. You're like, oh, this is just this. And you're like, well, bam. Secret bookcase. It's not a bookcase, but you guys get the whole idea. Anyways, finishing up storage. Here's what the glove box looks like. Decent amount of storage space right there, and then they do more of that weird trim with soft touch up above. Now here at the top, you can see you've got the little sunglass holder and you've got the mirror. It has the covering on it, but this will let you see the passengers there in the rear. Get a traditional sunroof, which we're gonna close that because it's really hot and bright. Ah! Anyways, there's everything for the top. Now that we're done going over the Sienna with all-wheel drive, let's quickly get into pricing. So this particular Sienna with all-wheel drive stickers for about $47,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said though, let's take her out and see how she drives. Let's quickly talk about visibility in the Sienna before we set off. So you can see visibility of the hood, it just kind of abruptly goes down. There's your visibility through both of the mirrors. Then here's all throughout the rear. So visibility in general is really good. It's easy to see out of all the large windows. And that being said, let's set off. I am setting off here in the 2020 Sienna, and let's first talk about the road noise and the ride quality. So first off, from a road noise perspective, it's really quiet. You really just don't hear a whole lot coming through. And then from the ride quality perspective, it's actually really smooth. I mean, yeah, it just rides what I expect. So compared to other minivans, it's right where it needs to be. All minivans kind of feel the same. It's weird, but they all kind of feel the same. So yeah, this definitely drives like other minivans for sure. And other than that, that's all for the road noise and ride quality. Well, taking a turn here, steering is super light, and let's get our acceleration now. Yeah, so it's right where I expect it to be. It's about the same acceleration-wise as the other minivans, so Honda Odyssey, Chrysler Pacifica, all that kind of stuff. It's right where it needs to be, really. And there's not much else to say. The minivan segment isn't really about the power too much. They've got adequate amounts of power, but nobody really tries to push the envelope on power in the minivan segment. They just kind of do it the status quo. And that'll actually lead me to summing things up. So with the Toyota Sienna, from a price point perspective, it's competitive with the other manufacturers. All of them for their fully loaded vans are pretty much all around that like close to $50,000 range for the van itself. And then from the power, like I said, it's right around where it should be compared to the other minivans. Now the one thing this does have the other minivans don't is all-wheel drive, which is huge, because most minivans, obviously all the other minivans are front-wheel drive, and front-wheel drive is fine, but I live in Utah and it snows half the year, and not having all-wheel drive here kind of sucks. You can deal with it if you've got good snow tires, but it's definitely better if you have all-wheel drive. Your chances of getting stuck are a lot less, and it's just safer in general. And so other minivan manufacturers need to take a note from Toyota here and put all-wheel drive in the minivans, just so that people can use it just in more circumstances, because a lot of people end up not buying a minivan because they need all-wheel drive, and so they end up buying an SUV. And so I'd say if minivan manufacturers want to, you know, steal a little bit more market share into the minivan, they definitely need to look into making the minivans all-wheel drive. And well, if you want an all-wheel drive minivan, you've got to get a Toyota Sienna right now. And there we have it, everyone, the 2020 Toyota Sienna with all-wheel drive. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Toyota here in Murray for providing us with the Sienna. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.